Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. Live from the Den. Legacy Internet Radio. Definitely glad that you guys are still with us listening to the flagship show of Legacy Internet Radio, heard live from the Den every single Monday night at 7 p.m. We appreciate everybody who is checking with us. We just got finished introducing the newest addition to us here on Legacy Internet Radio, the Uptown Lounge. They will debut with us here on Legacy Internet Radio starting this Wednesday night at 7 p.m. So we're looking forward to having the crew, for those folks, they're affiliated with the listening party that you hear on Legacy Internet Radio on Thursday nights from 9:30 to 11:30. So you got kind of a split crew encompassing Wednesday and Thursday, another hip hop show. And I look forward to it. I look forward to that great debate that they're going to have because, you know, they're going to be talking about hip hop, and I know they're going to play some stuff that will take us all way back. Ain't no half step with Marcus J. At this time of the show, as we do every single week, we always profile a missing and or exploited child. This week is no different. This week we are looking for Ashanti Wilson. She's been missing since March 28th, just a couple of days ago, from Chesapeake, Virginia. She's 12-year-old. She's a black female. She's 4'10" and weighs 90 pounds. As I mentioned, she was last seen on March 28, 2015. She may still be in the local Hampton Roads area. She's from Chesapeake. So if you've seen Ashanti Wilson, please contact the National Center for Missing and or Exploited Children on their website, missingkids.com, or contact the Chesapeake City Police Department at 757-312-0287, or you can contact them at 1-800-THE-LOST, 1-800-843-5678. Let's bring this little sister home, y'all. Ashanti Wilson. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. Live from the Den of Legacy Internet Radio. All right, y'all. Let's kind of ask the question, what the hell is wrong with people? And we're going to continue through the discussion, Grizz. I want you up on this one first. First question that I'm going to ask, and the folks that are listening to our show tonight may not have the perspective that we have, because I'm actually looking for a photograph that I had on my Facebook wall a couple of days ago, and it is a photograph of Levi Petit. Many people don't know who Levi Petit is, but Levi Petit was the member of the fraternity, SAE, I believe, fraternity, Oklahoma, who had the racist chant where they talked about how they didn't want any N-words in their fraternity. He was the leader of it, and he came out last week and he apologized for his role in it. He didn't really give a lot of specifics as to what he was apologizing for. He basically said that he learned the song but didn't want to admit where he learned the song. We later find out that it's part of their training or their intake process, or their I guess black fraternities, we would call it, being online, right? And that's where they actually learn it, Grizz. I'm looking at a photograph of Levi Petit, and in this photograph that I'm looking at, I see him. He's a white male, 20-ish. And I look around and I see 5 old black people standing behind him. Oh, no, you don't say that. 5 old black people. One's a black female. The rest are old black males. You've got clergy as well as elected officials that stand behind him as he makes his apology for using the N-word, and not just using the N-word, but using it in one of the most disparaging, vile ways that you can use it, if that makes sense. And so I'll be honest with you, I felt some kind of way when I saw this picture. I just did. Last week when you were here, we did a whole show when we talked about race and racism, and I want to have the candid but honest and fair discussion. And so I am certainly not in a position to try to tell y'all what to say. I got my feelings about this, which I will share after you all speak. But seeing this picture, I don't know if you've seen it before, but now that you've seen it, what are your thoughts, man? Do you feel something when you see this? You see me praying before I speak. I had to close my eyes because, I mean, first thing that comes to my mind is fake. Second thing that comes to my mind is, why are they so quick to, it looks staged, honestly. It looks like, this guy or somebody that, what was it? Where's Oklahoma? Midwest, just north. The most.
No, the University of Oklahoma.
It's
Norman, Oklahoma.
The Norman
Oh,
Chamber of Commerce, and they found 4 older, brothers. It was like just standing in front of them. I'm hoping that the conversation before having this press conference was more than what the image itself is giving off. I mean, honestly, who are we to know what's in someone's heart? We know what came out of his mouth, but I don't know what's in this kid's heart. But if it was me and I was, let me say, he looks about 65, 70. So he knows some racism. I wouldn't be quick to just stand behind this guy and even after a conversation try to and accept. I mean, you can accept the apology, but you got to own what you did. And I think this guy is trying to find a way to skate away from what he actually did. Nobody really. I mean, I guess you could say they held him accountable. They threw him out of school, But I mean, my whole you ask me, and it just looks staged. It looks fake. For me, it's the same old when something like that happens. They get a whole bunch of black leaders together and say, you know what, we gonna stand by. We gonna forgive. We got to get past this. This is post-racial America when everything around us says something different. So, I mean, it didn't resonate anything to me. I'm shocked, honestly.
That's why when you see the photo of Levi Petit, who was one of the leaders of the chant of the SAE fraternity at the University of Oklahoma, he is standing there with a group of black people, elderly. Well, not elderly, but certainly mature black folks standing there behind him. I had a very strong reaction when I saw this. I wanted to know if others did as well. So I'm bringing this to the panel. Your turn. You're up. Does this make you feel some kind of way?
I cry bullshit. It does. It looks staged to me. The first thing I did when I saw the picture is I looked at every last one of their faces. Mm-hmm. Some of them look shameful. Gentleman all the way over. What is that? To your right. He looks shameful. This guy's looking into space. He's just looking straight ahead.
I can't believe they got me up here.
At one particular thing.
Yeah.
Him, I don't know. Him, I'm so embarrassed. And her face looks more like, what the hell?
Well, when you see, I won't cut you off, but let me add this to you to it. There's another photo of the sister here and this brother here who is a clergyman. And I know this because I saw him in another photo. The 3 of them walk out of the court holding hands. There's a photo of these 3 holding
nothing wrong with holding hands in the eyes of the Lord.
Holding hands.
I watched this little video when he's crying sorry and she's nodding her head like, yeah, yeah, baby, okay. I cry bullshit on it. They look embarrassed to be there.
How'd they get that, though? If they're embarrassed, how did they end up getting that?
Well,
if I'm embarrassed, I'm not standing beside anybody if I'm embarrassed to be seen with.
We want to know. That's the one thing we don't know. What got these 5 people? These 5 people to stand here. There's some BS going on.
Sigma Alpha Epsilon paid off. I look like somebody got
BS going on.
Somebody got paid off.
Big Ru, when you see this picture, do you feel some kind of way? Do you have any feelings at all, or is there anything that you want to say about seeing this? Any imagery that makes you want to comment?
Actions speak louder than words. You can say what you want about, we learned that song and blah. Look, man, if you thought it was wrong, you would have left. Mm-hmm. If you really truly thought it was wrong and you thought your parents or your family would be embarrassed by it, you probably just would have been like, I can't do that.
He made a mistake.
I mean, well, you make a mistake when you trip some kid as he's running. That's a mistake.
That's a good mistake.
Now when you stand there and you're like,
I mean, you can't be like, and whatever.
Forgive him.
That's not a mistake. And don't get me wrong, I'm all about forgiveness. Mm-hmm. However, is that picture staged? Probably. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's the only one of the group who came. Really?
He's sorry he got caught. Whoever that was, now y'all let me know if I was paying too much attention to the video. But whoever it was that videotaped it, if I'm holding my phone up and I'm videotaping you doing something and I sing the rant, would you not hear me louder than anything? Mm-hmm. I didn't hear the person who was actually holding the phone at all.
No, I mean, to be a mole, so to speak, he couldn't, the guy he didn't want to say, he knew he had some good
Like, yeah,
you
let
know,
me get
footage
this. Let me get this.
of racism.
And post this. So
Yeah.
something's wrong.
He got
You know.
he got the grade A racism on camera right there.
He's
So
just sorry he got busted.
Here's my thought about it, man. I get really tired of black people being so quick to defend people who are clearly not people who would do the same if the roles were reversed. These are the people who said, or this guy more specifically said, you know, in his chant, you know, we don't want any N-words in this group. You know, you'll swing from a tree before
never.
You'll swing from a tree before you come in with me, or something.
You can hang 'em
Or hang from a tree. You know, whatever it was that he specifically said, and so he went specifically to the black leaders in that area. He said he was sorry to them, and then they went up there to show solidarity. And I'll be honest with you, this is probably the reason why I identify a little bit more with Malcolm X than I do Martin Luther King, because and it's not to say that Martin Luther King would have been standing there with them, but we know for a fact that Malcolm wouldn't have been. And I just have a hard time accepting the apology of someone who only wants to apologize now, like Ruben said, because you've been found out. If there had been no video, you would have continued doing that. You would have continued saying those things. It would have been part of your normal rhetoric. And the fact that these folks now want to stand there and smile, the imagery that this presents, I think is so damaging to the psyche of young black people. Because when you have someone who uses that word,
it's okay,
gratuitously in your neighborhood, you're a young black kid and your homies use the word, and someone like Marcus J comes and tells you you shouldn't use that word, it's bad, the history, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And then you have someone white come along and say it, and you feel some kind of way about it, but then you see your grandfather standing there with him. I mean, it just erases all of the frustration that I try to make sure that you have when you hear that word.
Bless his heart. Bless the pastor's and the pastor's wife's heart.
I'm not feeling them, and it's bad enough that they stand there with them, but to get caught in a photo op, you had to know that there was people out there. To get caught in a photo op, walking out of the courtroom,
they didn't get caught. They knew that.
Well, exactly. That's what I'm saying. You knew that you would be seen coming out of the courtyard. You know, coming out of the court, holding hands with the guy. I mean, I'm not saying that you would be disrespectful. That's one thing that I'm not going to be. And there are a lot of people in social media and other places that are very disrespectful towards those black people, which I'm not going to do. I'm not calling them out their name.
Get out of
here. I'm not calling her some of the vile things that people are calling her. All I'm saying is strategically, she made a bad move by being seen up there. It's like The Good Wife when, you know, your husband did some things that he probably, doesn't want to
Vanessa
come to
Bryant.
life, and the next thing you know, you see, The Good Wife sitting there, and I'm talking more about the TV show, sitting there, and they look just dumbfounded and highly annoyed. They don't want to be sitting there holding you down, but they are. They are, because they understand the political aspirations, but these folks ain't have to do that.
They did.
And I don't understand why they are. Ain't no how to step with Marcus J. Indiana, Big Road.
Before we move on, I have a question.
Okay.
Why was it so necessary for him to, instead of disappear into the light of the darkness, what is the point of coming out with this big elaborate
he has a future.
Press conference?
He's a young kid out of college. He wants to make something of himself, so he's got to clean that record, and he found 4 or 5.
Or you can hope that nobody knows who the hell you are and just disappear.
Oh, no, if it's on video, they know who he is.
It's on video, but there's also like 15 other people in that video, and
That's
I couldn't tell you one from another.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. Like, there was a whole busload of people.
Yeah, and he's the only one who needs to come forward and make this big deal about it. No. I mean, I'm sorry, man. I think some people, in a weird way, he's trying to live out his 10 minutes of fame, yo.
Yeah.
And I think that's, first of all, I think as those people who are those people who are even standing up behind him, I mean, I'm not trying to call them fools or idiots, but y'all just got played. Y'all just got played.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna call them out their names, but I just don't like the imagery.
A fool?
The imagery is just not cool to me.
Well, yeah, they got played. Clearly, they got played because you would think the whole fraternity would try to be like, yo, whatever, lie to our face. But nah, just one dude out of fraternity. Nah, man, that's not even.
Well, this is one of those examples when you hear a lot of people who are adverse to Al Sharpton, and they always want to throw Jesse Jackson's name in that mix. Just kind of as a sidebar, anytime you say Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson, that tells me you don't pay attention because Jesse Jackson hasn't been relevant in 20 years almost. So then I just wanted to throw that out there. But, people who always want to say that they only show up when something like this happens. You know what? I didn't see him standing there next to the dude because he's smart enough to know that the imagery is not good.
Let's flip the script. Like, what if I'm trying to think of something comparable? Because it's really nothing comparable because black folk can't be racist. But let's say, and let's give out the number tonight. You're listening to Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J here, Legacy Internet Radio. Kizom. The number is 804-402-2893. Again, 804-402-2893. We talk about the SAE student in Oklahoma who's came out in front of, we can call them Toms. They're all Toms. I mean, that's not calling nobody out their name.
And Tom is not accurate either because Uncle Tom, you want to be. You don't want to be Sambo, and that's the other. that's the other inaccuracy that we have when we try to diss folks. You don't want to be Sambo. You want to be Uncle Tom.
You want to be Uncle Tom.
You want to be Uncle Tom.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say the Uncle Tom reference is funny that in the ESPN 30 for 30, I Hate Christian Laettner.
Oh Lord.
What's his name?
That was good.
From ESPN, the dude from the Fab Five,
Jalen Rose.
He said, "Yeah, we used Uncle Tom might have been used." And I was like, "Thanks for letting everybody know that you're a complete idiot on national TV."
Yeah. Uncle Tom is inaccurate. You want to be Uncle Tom. He was trying to help you. Sambo was the one that was throwing you under the bus, Grizz. I cut you off.
No, you're fine. What I'm saying is there's nothing comparable to it. I'm trying to think if I go on a business trip with my white colleagues, and amongst my black friends at a bar or after a rager, and I'm going in and we got to chant about how we don't have a definitive for the Caucasian race and how we want to string them up from a tree. I don't think the next day when it became noticeable to the office that they would have 4 or 5 white corporate American dressed in suits standing behind me as I say, I'm sorry. I don't think that the situation would be equitable.
Because it wouldn't be.
No, it wouldn't be. They're going to be like, your ass is fired.
we getting hits in social media. Joy said that it's BS. And said we should check their donations coming up soon. If we wonder why the imagery looks like that, I think that's a fabulous point that you make there. Said, Ain't No How Steppin' Marcus J live from the Den Legacy in that radio. Moving on to the next story. What the hell is wrong with people is the name of this segment that we're talking about. And I want to ask, what the hell is wrong with Governor Mike Pence, who is a possible Republican presidential candidate who is the governor in Indiana? He has recently signed into law what's called the Religious Freedom Act, which basically allows you to exercise your religious freedom by keeping certain folks from being able to patronize your establishment. And it's designed to counteract against the growing gay and lesbian population with regards to their rights and their rights to be married and their rights to have certain social rights here in our country. And just kind of as a side note, apparently there are 19 other states that have so-called religious freedom laws, which is partly why there is so much opposition towards the mass opposition. There's mass opposition to the law, but there is a steady opposition to the people who are opposing the opposition, if that makes sense. They are all modeled after a federal law, the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, that was signed by Bill Clinton in 1993. The context of it is gay marriage, of course, been legal in Indiana since October. The Supreme Court decided that they were not going to challenge federal appeals court ruling. They don't have a state law specifically protecting gay people from discrimination, which is the reason why this law was enacted by the the governor now. And so what I want to do is I kind of want to talk about how we feel about this law, how we feel about the opposition. I know it ain't no have Steppin, Marcus J. We do tackle the conversations that are difficult because we ain't have Steppin. Chris, you up first. I always put you on the spot. I like to put you on the spot first. And knowing
it's a tough one.
Well, I know you well enough to know that you're at least somewhat familiar with the story.
Yeah.
And so what's your thoughts, man?
I mean, we do live in a democracy. I mean, it's Indiana. It's probably somewhere in Mississippi, somewhere down south. I don't know. I'm stereotyping maybe where these laws are passed, but Midwest. You know, I personally think it's an unfair law. It does take away rights of people. You know, period. You know, but if anything, if you're gay and you live in Indiana, don't live in Indiana anymore. I mean, it's easier for me to say, but. You know, just get out of Indiana. You know, if they want to make it a homogenized, you know, culture there, like I want to say Pleasantville. Y'all see that movie?
I did see Pleasantville.
Yeah, I like that. They wanted to make it Pleasantville, you know, and not everything is going to be Pleasantville. I mean, I think the law is going to get struck down because you just can't. I don't think you can.
Well, it's been signed and it's supposed to take effect on July 1st.
Really?
You know, so I know that there are a lot SY of companies that are threatening to boycott or move and stuff. The mayor of Indianapolis has already come out and said that he refuses to comply with
I hope
this.
the mayor's black.
The final four, he's not. He's a white guy. He has said that he's not going to comply. We also know that the final four is set to be in Indianapolis next week. There's a lot of money that's at stake with regards to this. A lot of boycotts. You know, Apple's leader, I think their CEO came out as gay.
Steve Jobs?
No, Jobs. No,
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs.
What happened to Steve Jobs?
He died of cancer a couple of years ago.
You're being funny.
I guess
right?
you have an Android.
Exactly.
You have an Android.
I'm playing. Go ahead. Rest in peace.
You know, you got a lot of businesses that are saying that they're going to boycott because of the discrimination aspect of this. That's why. What's your thoughts on the situation?
Yeah, I'm just kind of puzzled by that. It was signed, and you said it's July. It's supposed to go
It's
in
supposed
effect.
to take effect July 1st.
I don't think it's going to happen.
I mean, basically, what it means is you can come in there, and if you are gay, they can decide
How do
they
they
don't
know?
want to serve. Well, I mean, there's some folks you
Yeah,
can
that's
tell, and
not-
some folks you can't.
You
That's
can't
not
tell.
right. You can't.
Well,
you
I think
can't
they-
look at somebody.
I think
and
what it is,
say,
they have to put a sign up, basically saying that
That's no
we don't
different than Jim
serve,
Crow.
like homosexuals here, or we don't serve black people. You know, back in the day when they say we won't serve colored people.
Right. It's Jim Crow. It's
I
just
don't-
now. It's
I
Jim
don't
Crow. It's Jim Crow.
Y'all can sit here and act like you can't spot certain gay people. There's some that
Legally, you
some,
can.
some you can tell, and
you
some
can
you can't.
look at and tell, and some you can't.
Yeah, I mean,
don't
I'm
think
not. I'm not saying that.
No,
because
legally you can't.
I'm not saying that because I think it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that let's not
I don't-
play
I don't
semantics.
think
We
that
know the
that's-
deal.
I don't think.
All right.
that
True.
that's
True
fair.
that. Because I done seen some biggins.
Well,
I don't think that that's fair, and I really hope that does not take effect.
It's gonna go in effect, but it's
I
gonna
really
get
hope.
overturned.
It's something's got to.
I can't imagine going into a spot. And I mean,
And we don't serve blacks here.
right, or not even
come
that.
on.
They might mistake me. I would be dressed in total regular gay. I could be dressed like I am right now, and I have something pink. I don't know. Give me a gay color. Give me a gay color.
What the hell's a gay color?
A rainbow. I'm from Indiana.
You're my rainbow head wrap?
Yeah, rainbow head wrap, right? I could walk into any establishment in Indiana and totally be straight, but the owner or one of the patrons might assume that I'm not. And how do you tell? I mean, that's
I
like
could be wearing my rainbow head wrap, and they're like,
Well, the
like you can't get rid of black.
The
You
monkey,
can't.
well, the monkey wrench I want to throw into it because it's kind of along the lines of what you're saying. Because there was a story that I wanted to talk about a few weeks ago. We never got to it, but I guess now's the time to kind of bring it in. Where there are certain places in California that have whites only signs, like literally
Yeah, I've seen that.
white, like literally whites. Like we don't serve colored folk. Well, I don't eat them either. You know what I'm saying? But I stole that from Robin Harris. But seriously,
I mean, legally, I mean, the law is clear.
so we're going back to Jim Crow.
I mean, hopefully not, but the law is clear on
Seems
you
like
cannot discriminate on anybody based on even if you're a private business, you cannot discriminate based on race, creed, color, all the other discriminatory
all that.
words you could think of that people would discriminate on. So I'm curious to know how did Indiana get this law passed. I know it came from the
That
state
can't be
legislator and the governor signed it, but there's a federal law that states that you cannot segregate based on that. So I don't know how they legalized around it to get that law to pass.
I got two things.
Okay.
First of all, I don't mean harm, and this might piss some people off, and that's okay. This, number one, goes against the number one thing about making money. You can say what you want.
You don't want to turn
but
away
if you're paid,
business.
you're not going, I don't like you because you're gay.
Well, that's how ignorant those folks are.
But you're paying me. Let me think about that a little bit.
Right.
That goes completely against all of that, number one. And number two, I do appreciate the fact that NCAA has already come forward and being like, yo, we rarely do stuff in South Carolina. We didn't do anything in Arizona.
Right.
The NFL didn't do anything in Arizona when they didn't support Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. So, I mean, as Marcus said, this weekend, the Final Four is in Indianapolis. A whole lot of things are in Indianapolis. The Combine's in Indianapolis.
Mm-hmm. Pacers.
Yeah. Well, not even. But
the Fever, the Indiana Fever. They can go to the WNBA games, though, I'm sure. I bet you 100%.
But the thing about it is, why would you do this to yourself? Because basically you're saying.
Don't.
But you're basically saying, you know what? I don't want your money.
It's scientifically proven that races and people that are discriminatory against other people have a lower IQ than people who don't.
But that's not true in all cases. Like old boy with Chick-fil-A.
He's dumb. He's rich, but he's dumb.
But that's the whole point.
Right.
He just said, he said he wasn't a fan of the gay marriage or whatever.
So,
of gay marriage. However, his people did some work literally right after he said that because he's an idiot.
Right.
And he almost lost billions of dollars. But the southern part of our country pretty much saved him on that one. Indiana is right at the beginning of the Midwest.
Right.
Nobody ain't saving them. In Indiana, if they lose all the big stuff that happens there, Indiana becomes a dust spot.
Yeah, it becomes it becomes Alaska.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't know if y'all talked about it a couple weeks ago, but when Alaska signed the
gays can go to Alaska.
Well, no, but they signed a law saying that basically the federal government, aka Obama, can't tell them what to do about the borders. But last time I checked, who pays for the borders?
The
federal government.
Federal government.
So basically, you're saying the money we give to you, we can't tell you what to do with it. Yo, it's time for succeeding going on. We about to go to 48 states real quick.
But when we talking
Alaska.
about money and all that kind of stuff, kind of jumping around here. But I mean, we the same country that send something like $3 billion to Israel every single year and never ask for a receipt about where that money is being itemized. And you still are having our government, the blue and the red, the blood and the cuz, arguing over how we view Israel. And anytime you say anything where you question our relationship with that country, you are viewed as anti-Semitic. And we know that the phrase anti-Semitic is negative. It's a negative phrase. You can't say anything. Like, I'd like to know why the United States sent so much money to them when Germany, the one that was trying to gas these people. You know what I'm saying? Why are we the ones that fund their country? I mean, I think that's a fair question. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, how we do things in this country sometimes is very, very questionable. And when you have a country where a citizen, a person, can pay their taxes, go to work, do everything right with regards to how the way we're supposed to live as good people is said of, and because you decide to make a personal choice that doesn't affect anybody but you can be discriminated. You can be discriminated based upon your color, which most of us know something about. You can be discriminated against based upon who you choose to have sex with. I mean, it's outrageous to me, absolutely outrageous to me that they can sign something like this into law. I'm not gay. I don't want to be gay. I'll never be gay. I love women too much to be gay. But you know what? I have no problem with someone who does that because it don't affect me.
Not my business.
You know, I don't care. I don't care. And the fact that these people care so much, the same people that's going to go to church and pray to God about not being judged by anybody but him, they're going to be judging these people and telling them you can't come and spend my green money because I got a rainbow flag. The hell out of here with that bullshit.
Why do we do so much?
Get out of here.
Why do we do so much
outta
self-destruction
here.
to ourselves?
Well, that
Not. I'm just talking about Americans, because clearly this is what this is. You know, a couple of things. I mean, basically, it's almost like somebody's like,
We
you
gonna
know
shut
what? It's time for another civil war up in this mall.
Well, that's
and
what
I'm
they
just
want.
like, yo.
the lost cause is still the lost cause.
But real talk, a civil war, if with let's just say it, with bigots and everybody else, you ain't gonna win, dog.
It's not my country no more. So I want to retain. Me and Mark spoke about this last week on the racism show, the race show. If I was born into white privilege and I secluded myself from the rest of from the minorities, and I got a nice house, picket fence, subdivision, and everything that comes with being white, I honestly can see why they want to keep, when I say they, Caucasian people, to keep things the way they are, because it's a threat. And to answer your question, the reason why people vote these things out is because of fear, honestly. It's a fear of losing what you've been accustomed to had since 1786 or 85, whatever the Constitution.
But what I don't
1776.
what I don't understand, it's not the rich people.
No, it's
No, it's not the rich people
It's all
pushing
white
for this stuff.
Not all.
It's the poor people, because we know, because we've talked about this before.
Well, they sip on pure juice.
That if I'm correct, there are more minorities, black, Mexican, whatever, in this country than white people. Correct? Am I correct
Just
on that?
about in 2050, it will be more minorities.
Well, but the thing about it is, on the welfare standpoint, there are more Caucasians on welfare by percentage than minorities.
Yes.
So my thing is, you sit here and we can. It's not the rich white. It's the rich white people, and the poor white people. Middle class don't care because they're fine where they are.
But you know what? It's about power, because it's the rich white people that are making the poor white people think the middle class is taking their jobs, and that's what this is.
Which is crazy, because they're
very.
so. I mean, it's a,
Well, that's
it's
what
like
the Republican Party in 2015 is based upon. Because if you look at their base is outrageously rich white people and very poor rural.
Rich white people vote for the Democrats. They funnel Wall Street.
They funnel a lot of money, but if you really look at the demographic, specifically about where they are, you know, New York and LA, rich white folk, not so much.
Right.
But every other place, I mean, Texas, Florida, Ohio,
Georgia,
the outrageously rich white people are Republican, as well as the very, as well as the very.
That's like the 1%
like that, versus all of these rural area evangelical poor white people are also Republican. Tell me how that makes sense.
I'm gonna tell folks that's listening how we can shoot a hole in the theory of republicanism, or the theory of conservatism, or the theory of far right or evangelical political views. If you ever notice, the Republican Party and the evangelical base always say that they want to keep government out of your lives, keep the man, keep Uncle Sam out of your lives, but they steadily pass laws that are intrusive on the lives of people that they have that they don't like, or that they have a fear of, and if you just look at it, if you really look at republicanism for what it's supposed to be, if you go through with the Ayn Rand or that type of philosophy, everybody's supposed to be, it's almost libertarian. You do what you want as long as it doesn't infringe on my rights, everything is okay. But you get this evangelical crowd in the mix, and they say, well, no, do what you want, but you can't do this, or but you can't do that. You can't come into my establishment because you're gay. You can't buy weed because we say it's illegal. You can't, so just listen to these right-wing pundits, on the news shows and in the political theater, and notice how they talk about how everybody, this is America, this Ronald Reaganish, everybody has the freedom to do what they want. No, that they don't want you to do what you want, and the left is a little bit like that as well, because you can't go on a political spectrum and go too far one way, before they want to call you out, That's just my take on it.
Well, I think one thing that we should keep an eye on before we go to break is the fact that the military has already admitted that they're going to be testing out martial law this summer. It's not something that I just made up. It's something that is out there. Go ahead and look it up. They're going to be testing it out, particularly along the southern border of California, New Mexico, Arizona, Texas. They're going to they're going to be testing it out, and so keep that in mind when you see things like the outbreak of marches and protests going on as a result of some of the discrimination, as well as the police-involved shootings with what happened in Ferguson and New York, and then this situation with what's going on with the homosexuals, if it ends up being where they end up marching and things like that. Remember a few years ago when the president of the United States, Barack Hussein Obama, signed the National Defense Authorization Act, which in part states that they could take your ass down to a holding cell and not even tell your peoples that you there. You see that they're going to be testing out martial law this year. I mean, if you think that all these things are not connected, then you're tripping. And if you think that everybody who speaks in, shall we say, I'm losing the phrase that
Islamic.
No.
Arabic?
I mean, I guess people always want to call us conspiracy theorists, which is not really the phrase that I wanted, but I'll use that. When they say conspiracy theory, conspiracy theory is nothing but someone that questions what they've been told, and you can question just because they tell you that doesn't mean that it's the way it is.
So you like to question to be told?
Hey, man. Anything you tell me, I want to see for myself that is right. You're not going to tell me that the sky is blue and expect me to just believe it just because you said it. I have to be shown scientifically that the sky is blue because the sun reflects the ocean back up to the sky, and that's the reason why it's blue.
You got good tint in your glasses. I could go. Well, let's go outside to see.
Okay, I'm not.
That's why I had to get you.
Yeah, he got me. But it's real,
Totally
man.
off.
It's real. Yeah, it's a blank stare. I was like, damn, what the hell you mean? All right, y'all. We're going to take a break. Then you know how Steppin, Marcus, Jay. We're going to ask fair or foul in the next segment. That's why I can't wait to hear what you got to say
Indiana
about this prank gone wrong, criticizing Miss Japan, and what these people did to this kid just because he wore a jacket is going to make you bug the hell out.
Is it a Michael Jackson jacket?
It ain't a Michael Jackson jacket, but it's an important jacket. Fair or foul. You know how Steppin, Marcus. Jay, be back in a minute.
You.